I feel offended after what we watched yesterday. The Arizona Cardinals offense mailed it in, and we are having very serious conversations way too early in the 2025 season. Starts now. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Locked On Cardinals, Alex Clancy here. Follow me on Twitter, Clancy's Corner. Thank you, everydayers, for making Locked On Cardinals part of your day, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Listen, I still don't know what we saw yesterday. I don't know. I don't know what we watched. I don't know why this is what we have to feel right now. And listen, it goes against conventional wisdom for us to have to think like this after a game the Cardinals should have won, but even in the way that they lost, it almost makes it worse. We're going to discuss the defense last, okay? We're going to backload the good stuff. We're going to talk about all the crap first, and then end the show on a happy note, at least. The offense is broken. The offense is broken. It's going to take a character out of the movie Men in Black with multiple arms to be able to point fingers at the amount of people that fingers need to be pointed at as the reason why the offense isn't working. And Jonathan Gannon's got part of it. This was an offensive loss, kind of a play on words. You're welcome. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned later for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. Mazda, move and be moved. It was offensive. And you see offensive because the offense played bad. So offensive and offensive like you feel it personally. I feel duped. I talked about this the entirety of the offseason. If things don't work, I'll feel like duped. Okay. They didn't add anything on offense. And I felt they didn't necessarily need to. The defense needed a lot more of the help. Okay. And as we start these conversations, one thing needs to be very clear from me. I'm not saying, like, pack it in. I'm not saying Armageddon is here. I'm not saying the sky is falling. I'm not saying whatever other metaphor you want to use here. I'm saying the clock has started. Don't know how long that will tick until it hits zero. I don't know if it's 6 weeks. I don't know if it's a year. I don't know if it's longer than that. But the clock has started ticking. And for those who have said Kyler Murray's not the guy since being drafted number 1 overall in 2019, this is just confirmation bias, and you're just ignoring all of the good things that he's done. The loss was not on Kyler Murray yesterday, and the clock has started to tick. The loss was not on the drops. The loss was not solely on Drew Petzing. The loss was not on James Conner being lost for the year, and you hope for a speedy recovery for one of the most important people on this team. It was all of it. It was all of it. Kyler Murray through 3 weeks has played pretty well. Also, Kyler Murray threw the ball 35 times and only completed 160 yards worth of passes. The defense did all they could. Kwame Lassiter, I talk about him a lot. Well, I have talked about him a lot recently. Gave me my first shot on radio in 2010. 2011 early. And he said 17 points. I talked about this on the squad show last night. If a defense gives up 17 points or less, you need to win those games. The Arizona Cardinals gave up less than 17 points, including a goal to go, 4th down stand inside the 10-yard line. They did everything times 100 that they needed to do to help the Arizona Cardinals win yesterday. It can't be understated how much of a meteoric shift a win and a loss in division in week 3 is. especially for a team that looked bad offensively during the first 2 weeks, aside from 3 drives against Carolina and 1 against New Orleans. This was an offensive loss because this is a trend we're starting to see post-game. That's on me. I need to be better. That's on me. I need to be better. You know what it reminds me of? Got to check out the tape. Yeah, got to watch the tape. Don't really know. Got to watch the tape. I don't know if this is a Michael Bidwell thing, just squeezing what he's supposed to say after games. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but what I do know is it's kind of a mockery of what's happening. We got to be better. We got to be better. When is going to be better happening? I know Jonathan Gannon said post game, I know all the plays that are being called, so if you have anything to say, you can come to me. Okay. We're here. What's going on? Everydayers, you'll know this. If this is your first listen to Locked On Cardinals, thank you, first off. Maybe make tomorrow your second one. I've said for a long time, especially when it got really bad here a couple years ago, the only thing worse than having a problem is not knowing what the root of the problem is. And going to the Men in Black analogy with whatever, serpent or whatever had 4 or 5 arms and we're all pointing fingers at people, you don't know what the root is. It Drew Petzing? Partially. Is it Kyler Murray? Not as much, but still, yes, partially. Is it Marv? Partially. Is it the offense as a whole? Partially. Is it the offensive line not blocking as well in the run game? Partially. But it's not like, okay, this is what needs to be fixed. We don't know what that is. Defensively, hell of a game. Hell of a game. I said this somewhat joking on the Cardinal Squad show last night about this. What's the difference between the Cardinals and the Cleveland Browns? Truly. And the Cardinals have scored some more points. Obviously, the offense is a little bit better because they've got, better skill position players. And I take Kyler Murray with Joe Flacco. But what's the difference? Really good defense that's keeping them in games. And the offense not doing a whole lot. Cardinals are 2-1. Obviously, Cleveland stole a game against Green Bay. They had no business winning, but the defense bailed them out. What if the offense was just competent and the defense could leverage that and this team could be borderline elite? It's become very apparent very quickly that what's on paper and what happens between the lines are completely different things. Again, you feel terrible for James Conner. You feel terrible for him. It's going to require surgery. Knew it was bad. One of the good dudes here, you feel bad for him. But the Cardinals move on. And they've still got plenty of offensive firepower to do it, but the offense is broken. And we'll discuss more about that next. Locked On Cardinals, your team, every day. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by our friends over at PrizePicks. So here's the thing. PrizePicks is awesome. It's a daily fantasy app where making the right call can actually pay off. And you and I make decisions every day. But on PrizePicks, being right means cashing in with more, options than ever there. With football obviously back, PrizePicks is the simplest and fastest way to get in on the action. All you got to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections, and you can turn your takes into real prizes all in less than 60 seconds. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. I love that tagline. Please go to the YouTube channel. Search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit that subscribe button, man. Not great. Cardinals lose. Defense tried to give them a win. The Calais Campbell safety. Tried to get him there. And the offense, they just couldn't do it. So we got to talk about Marv a little bit. First off, I mean, the post-game interview thing, it was Cam Cox's video from 12 News here. You just see a young man who's struggling, and like the human element of this is very difficult to not just look at. It's like, I gotta feel bad. Like, I feel bad for him. Above all else, you hope that, he gets better, obviously, for the Arizona Cardinals to win more games and stuff like that. But I mean, the dude had so much pressure coming into his career, and everybody expected him just to walk onto the field and be 12, 13, 14, 1,500 yard receiver, and it's just not working. He had a big drop yesterday. He almost, the second one in the end zone wasn't even set for him. Okay, that was a Zay Jones pass. They got pass interference, and that ended up being a touchdown for Trey McBride. But like, Marv almost came in and saved the day. So if you look at it like that, it's like, wow, like that's very athletic play. Couldn't hold on to it, but again, pass interference in the end zone bailed the Cardinals out. The drop was just bad. It was just bad. And it immediately made me think, and I'm not comparing the two, and it's also kind of counterintuitive to compare it this way, but let me explain. Do you remember when Amari Cooper couldn't catch footballs in Oakland? They were still in Oakland. And then he went to Dallas and he was just really good. Like, I'm not saying that that's the journey for Marv, but I'm like, if they can figure that out while he's still an Arizona Cardinal, that's fantastic. And you'd expect him to not get traded or anything like that. But like, it was just something that I thought of, and it's like, well, they got to figure it out. I'm still in the camp, and for better or worse, not getting him in the groove early, I think that's hurting them severely. And it's, it's not that he's, not equipped to be an NFL wide receiver. It's just going through the motions sometimes is just, not everybody can just be locked in, and that may be a problem in and of itself, but it's not something that, like, you got to get him in early. You got to get him moving early. I think it was 10 minutes of offense before even getting him a target. It's not great. Trey looks fine. He looks good. He had a great catch along the far left side of the field, going out of bounds. I feel like a broken record. Does it sound like I'm a broken record with this? It's like, got to figure it out. If they do this next week, then we can forget about this. In a game where the offensive line played extremely well, like extremely well. Beach played really well, filling in for Paris Johnson Jr. He had a couple penalties. The rust was there, and then he played really well, like he does when he plays. Josh Fryer, spot snaps, played well. The offensive line played well. Kyler Murray, like, the problem with me, the problem that I'm still trying to figure out is the dink and dunk the offense, or is the dink and dunk when Kyler Murray takes out of the offense? Is that what he chooses to do with the offense? They did throw the ball down the field a little bit more after James Conner got hurt. I don't know why that was the impetus for it. Why not do it before? I know that Amari Mercado had a drop. I know that Zay Jones, that ball is a little bit behind Zay Jones. Like, that's not just like a basket catch to make. The defender was all over him. There was a very good defensive play. And it never should have got to that to begin with. So on 2nd and 9, after getting the first down on the last drive, 2nd and 9, you run the ball up the gut. Why? Go win the game. Don't hope to not lose it. That's where you can run play action because nobody's expecting it. And then they threw the ball twice. It's just like, well, oh man, like I used to say that the former GM, and this makes sense, so that's why I'm bringing him up. I'm not saying his name. Was the definition of insanity with drafts. I'm starting to feel now thinking the offense is going to be better is turning into the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing, expecting different results. And I, as a human being, I can't believe we're having this conversation in week 3. I can't believe it. Maybe that makes me stupid. Maybe that makes me naive. I just don't know what they can do to fix it. We can go through the numbers. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Kyler Murray had 200 all-purpose yards. It's like this offense, I'm not to say that it's an all Drew Petzing. It's easy to fire a coordinator. It's easy to look at and be like, oh, that's the issue. Jonathan Gannon coming into his defense, he's being a good leader of a team. But with that conversation, it's like, okay, well, then we're going to have questions for you. Is it Kyler Murray's inability to make the big throw when they need it? He's made big throws. They had 4 come from behind wins last year. 3, 4, I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm at a point where I don't know what can be done. Sure, you can fire Petzing, get rid of Kyler, whatever. The Kyler Murray clock has started. I don't know how long it's going to be, but the Kyler Murray clock has started. No, you're not going to trade him during the season. No, you're not going to play Jacoby Brissett ahead of him. Like, none of those things. But the actual clock has started. You'd love to see him produce and be the Arizona Cardinals quarterback for the next, however long he's in the league. You'd love that. And he had a couple really, really good standout plays yesterday. And he wasn't the reason why they lost the game. And also, for the 3rd week in a row, they had the chance to get a couple first downs and end the game in victory formation, and they could not. That's all you need your quarterback to do when push comes to shove. Stay close, be a great game manager, and get it done when you absolutely need it. And he didn't. Again. That's why I'm struggling. It was not on him yesterday. The loss wasn't on him yesterday, solely. You're the quarterback of an NFL team who's putting up 15 points a game against a defense that's decimated with injury, with a top 3 tight end in the league, with a great offensive line, and with the former 4th overall pick. I understand the drops weren't on him. I totally get it. I watched the game. 15 points is 15 points. And they were gifted a touchdown with the pass interference call. Just leaving the facts there. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. On the plus side, on the positive side, the defense looked great. We'll discuss it next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Mazda and moving the game forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. And there are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, move culture, and keep moving the game forward. This week's moving the game forward moment, it's the entirety of the defense. It's the entirety of the defense. And you know what? We'll give a tip of the cap to Calais Campbell, who forced the holding call inside the end zone that gave the Cardinals the lead for what seemed to be a fleeting moment or two. And, you got to give Baron Browning his flowers too. Like, this defense is playing excellent football. And I know it's against, 3 not so formidable offenses, but still. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there is more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is also brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. The NFL season is here, man. 3 weeks in, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer right now. New customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. $300. New customers. All you have to do is bet $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is about to get better. I mean, it was stellar first 2 segments. Not the fantastic topic that you'd want to watch the Arizona Cardinals put up 15 points and should still win the game. God, how are we here again? The defense looked great. I don't care who they played against. The defense looked great. Until the last series of the game where they decided to kind of play prevent-y defense when they were only up 2. Field goal counts as 3 points, so field goal wins. Up until that point, the defense is playing lights out. And they've played lights out this season. You know? I don't know what more you want from them. Down Will Johnson. Down Garrett Williams. Walter Nolan hasn't played yet. The front looks stout. On that 4th and goal, when was the last time you were like, oh, yeah, there's no way they're going to score here? The opposing team on the Cardinals' defensive front. When was the last time you thought that? It's been a while. Put Dalvin, Darius Robinson, Calais up there. Good luck. And they got to stop. Mac Wilson looked fantastic. You know, like, it's just all for naught. It's like that. If you can't tell, and listen, for those that have watched a while, and for those that have watched a little bit, you know that I'm pretty open with you emotionally when things are going well, things are going wrong. I like to give you the full picture on what I'm feeling and why. Yesterday, like, it got to me. You know, like being in sports media and for so long, like you kind of lose your fandom. I didn't grow up here. I inherited the Arizona Cardinals. And being in media takes away your fandom. It allows you to kind of just be more, you know, cut and dry with things. Obviously, it's better for business when the team wins. But remember last week when I said the human brain couldn't have actually downloaded the Cardinals losing to the Panthers if it were to have happened? It was kind of like that this time, where it's like, huh? How did the score end up like this? Cardinals they were on the field for a lot longer. They had a lot less yards. And this wasn't like the Carolina game where they were up a whole bunch of points, and obviously Carolina's going to get a bunch of Blake Bortles garbage time yards. With the defense playing the way it's playing, Nick Rawls is going to be on the short list. I think that's obvious. The offense can't be the weakest part of this team. I don't care that they didn't add anybody. I know that the defense obviously, like, you know, when sometimes I'll compare this roster to rosters in years past and look at how far they've come. And then sometimes I'll be like, well, just look at this in a vacuum, as I say. Just this in and of itself is good. It doesn't matter how bad it was in the past. This in and of itself is good. I think we're seeing both here with the defense, where the defense has not been great the last couple of years. Last year, statistically, they weren't terrible. They were middle of the pack. And then you add a bunch of talent, and in the draft and free agency, it's like, wow, this defense is really good. And they look even better because of how bad they've been, and they're also really good. And then you throw the offense out there, and there's no confidence out of that side of the ball. There's no confidence. It was Seattle coming into town Thursday. with that defense fully healthy, pretty much. I know Devon Witherspoon missed a game earlier in the year, the standout corner, I think, from Illinois, who went top 10 a couple years ago. I mean, they've got dudes up front. Byron Murphy, Leonard Williams, like they've got guys. This defense could hold Seattle to, 20 points or something. But if this Cardinals offense doesn't figure it out, and that's the definition of insanity, it's like, what is there to figure out? Where do you start after watching that crap box of a performance yesterday? Where do you start? Down James Conner. Marvin Harrison Jr. lost all of his confidence. Where do you start? And this is kind of the last time I can say this before we start to have conversations like, if it's not figuring it out, if they find out how to do things a little bit better on Thursday, they watch the film, strategize, able to get Marv, more involved. Without James Conner, if Marv can step up, if he and Kyler can figure things out, if there can be more targets to Trey, more targets to Marv, and actually move the ball down the field and score touchdowns, this would be a wild signature win for a team that absolutely needs a boost right now in the win-loss column and confidence-wise. It's going to be pretty quick and less than 96-hour turnaround. But yeah, it was disheartening. I felt duped yesterday after watching that offensive performance. Yeah, we'll see. Locked on Cardinals, your team every day. Remember, without you, there is no me. I'll talk to you tomorrow.